Every year, thousands of young drivers worldwide dream of joining the elite ranks of Formula One, but the cold hard truth is that only a handful ever make it. Welcome to DRS Speed Hunters, and today we're going to explore the astounding odds and incredible challenges that stand between you and the F1 grid. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more fascinating updates. Alright, let's face it, becoming an F1 driver is near impossible. With over 1 billion people worldwide participating in some form of motorsport, only 20 drivers make it to the F1 grid each season. The journey to the top is paved with hidden costs that only the most resilient drivers can overcome. Beyond talent, dedication, and financial backing, these drivers face incredible odds, fierce competition, bad luck, setbacks, and mental burdens. With these many odds, let's dive into the 4 reasons why it's so hard to become an F1 driver. And the first reason, well, it's rather obvious. Reason 1. Financial barriers. You see, it all begins with passion, but passion can only take you so far. The harsh reality is that motorsport is notoriously expensive. Costs gradually mount up from karting to F1, posing a major obstacle to entry and advancement. Karting, the most beginner-friendly entry point, typically starts at the age of 4 or 5. However, some exceptions exist. Fernando Alonso, maybe the GOAT of F1, began at 3. Max Verstappen at 4, and then there's Nicholas Latifi, who was not so young when he began his journey at 13. Yet karting gives young drivers a chance to test their abilities and passion in a setting with smaller cars, engines, tires, and budgets. But there's a cost associated with this entryway to more competitive racing. Even entry-level competitive karts can cost thousands of dollars. For instance, a decent kart for a 6 to 8-year-old in the Bambino class can cost about $3,000, while top-level senior class karts can exceed $10,000. But that's not all. In addition to the initial kart purchase, you need a van or trailer to transport the kart to and from tracks, plus additional fees for track time. Safety gear and maintenance costs also add up. Tournament entry fees are another financial hurdle. For serious competitors who want to be at the top of their game, new tires are a necessity for every session. When you tally up these expenses, you get roughly 20 grand for entry level alone. Now, these steep expenses are some of the reasons why getting started in motorsports is a significant financial challenge for aspiring drivers. Take George Russell, for example. Russell's story really hits home. His folks had to give up a lot to back his early racing dreams, with his dad even selling his own business to help out. That is some serious dedication right there. And then there's Charles Leclerc. His family had their share of struggles too. His dad worked multiple jobs and sold their family boat just to cover karting costs. Makes you wonder how many talented drivers never got their shot because they couldn't afford it, you know? Well, even with all these sacrifices, only a lucky few made it from karting to Formula 3 and eventually Formula 1. It just goes to show how tough the journey is and how much it takes to succeed in motorsport. Reason number 2. Talent and dedication just aren't enough. So kickstarting a career in karting is kind of tough, and even if you make it, most people don't have what it takes to make it big. The chances of going beyond karting are pretty slim, but hey, some lucky ones do make it. The next big thing for them is getting into single-seat Formula cars, which is a huge deal if you want to reach Formula 1. Now the problem is that moving up to advanced single-seaters is crazy expensive. Most drivers try to get into these cars when they're like 13 or 14, and Formula 4 is a big stepping stone to the big leagues, aka Formula 1. Now, getting to Formula 4 is a long shot. There are currently 28 F4 championships worldwide, including regional ones, with 17 of them sanctioned by the FIA. With an average of 20 drivers every tournament, there are more than 560 drivers between the ages of 8 and 40 each year. With nearly 5 billion racing fans competing for a spot, the competition is intense, and the chances are astronomical. Just 1 in 9 million will advance. Even if you are fortunate enough, you have to expect to pay high prices. Annual expenses can reach hundreds of thousands. The annual cost of competing in Formula 1 can range from $200,000 to $405,000, making it nearly unaffordable for many gifted drivers. Furthermore, the cars are harder to drive, and the competition gets more intense as drivers advance to higher motorsport levels. Before we continue, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to DRS Speed Hunters for more updates like this. Reason 3. Fierce competition. As incredible as it may sound, though, a lot of young drivers begin preparing for their illustrious journey to Formula 1 at a very young age. Even though they're aware that only a small number will eventually succeed, these drivers are adamant because they think that they'll be the ones to make it. According to James Hinchcliffe, a former IndyCar driver and F1 analyst, for a driver to have a genuine chance of making it to the sport, they must be signed to, or at the very least recognized by, an F1 team's young driver program by the time they're 14 or 15. This highlights the tremendous pressure that these up-and-coming stars are under to establish themselves in the racing industry. The competition intensifies in Formula 3, where the cars are faster and more demanding to control. It's at this stage that those lacking the potential to reach F1, or even come close, are quickly identified. F3 is quite intense, as this is exactly where numerous current and former F1 drivers made their mark in the series before proceeding to conquer F1. Drivers such as Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen all faced the rigors of F3 head-on. While it's more common for drivers to follow the conventional path, there may have been some other exceptions in the past, some like Max Verstappen and Jacques Villeneuve. This could be due to their impressive skills, or maybe not, but we know for sure that it's extremely rare to achieve this stunt. In reality, the financial environment of the motorsport industry is intimidating. To compete in Formula 3, they have to scramble to find $700,000 to $1.2 million in a single season. The Macau Grand Prix, a prestigious F3 race, attracts some of the most talented young drivers, with past winners including legends like Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher. However, success here doesn't necessarily translate into a Formula 1 career. For example, Felix Rosenqvist won the Macau Grand Prix twice, but despite his talent, he struggled to secure the funding needed to move up to Formula 2, ultimately limiting his chances in the F1 pipeline. This highlights that while success in Macau can showcase a driver's skill, it doesn't guarantee progression to F1. Even in F3, the odds are daunting. In fact, it's more tasking than karting because approximately 500 drivers compete in F3 machinery annually, vying for just 340 seats at the third highest level. This translates to a 1 in 15 million chance of reaching this level. Achieving Formula 3 is undoubtedly a noteworthy feat, but F2 presents the most difficult obstacles. Opportunities for rookie drivers are limited because only 20 drivers earn a place on the Formula 2 grid each year. But once there, they typically stay for 2 to 3 seasons. You would assume that getting this far would ensure a spot in Formula 1, but reality sets in. The competition gets more fierce, and the gap gets wider. In the recent Bahrain's F2 qualifying, the drivers were packed tighter than sardines, with mere blinks separating the fastest from the rest. F3, while impressive, couldn't match the F2 speed. Think of it as the little sibling trying to keep up. But here's the kicker. Moving up requires a deep pocket, elite teams, and a whole lot of luck. Sometimes even the best don't always qualify for Formula 1. For example, Theo Pourchaire, the 2023 F2 champion, failed to earn a spot in Formula 1 this year. Neither did the 2022 champion, Filip Drugovich. So what hope does that leave for the rest of the grid? Even for the most gifted drivers, success is far from guaranteed on the perilous path to Formula 1. Countless factors conspire against aspiring F1 drivers, making the journey an uphill battle. The reality, however, is kind of depressing. While many young drivers strive to be at the top, just a handful get the chance to make it annually. The financial burden alone is staggering, with Formula 2 campaigns costing upwards of $3 million annually, and top teams demanding $5 million. And the fourth reason, mental burden. Finally, the mental pressure can be quite alarming, and thus intense mental pressure can lead to a single mistake crushing F1 dreams, resulting in a suffocating competition. With only 1 or 2 spots available each year, the odds are firmly stacked against young drivers. Despite the professional polish of all drivers at this level, a single mistake in a race can result in the loss of vital points for their title challenge, extinguishing the F1 dream in the blink of an eye. Adding to the difficulty, the 2024 Formula 1 grid features the same 20 drivers as the end of the 2023 season, indicating that no new drivers have been granted the luxury of joining what Lewis Hamilton has termed the pinnacle of motorsport. Since there are typically 1.33 driver changes on the Formula 1 grid each year, at least on average, it can be difficult to both get and hold on to one of these prized positions. Even though the typical F1 career lasts about 10 years, many drivers never finish year 1, much less 10. For instance, Nick de Vries had a very successful career, winning many karting national and international titles, as well as the Formula 2 World Championship and the Formula E World Championship, but he was still turned down for entry into the fiercely competitive Formula 1 world. Despite these daunting odds, drivers have to keep rising to the challenge as there's no definite rules on how to reach the top. But the question remains, what does it take to join the elite ranks of Formula 1? The answer Much like the checkered flag, that's just around the corner. Subscribe and stay on track. Hey, and don't forget to like this video too, and subscribe to DRS Speed Hunters and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the upcoming episodes. We'll see you on the next lap.